Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. I'm Clinton Jeffrey, along with Adam Ross, joining me here, and some other special guests throughout the program. Thanks so much for being with us. It's great to be back here on Rivals again here tonight.
Awesome to be back, Clinton. I'm just typing up my. Did I just say about 5 words at the exact same time? Like they just kind of melted in my mouth and none of them came out right. I am
I'm
just
not
typing up
sure.
my Facebook share so people can come and watch us and participate. I always wait until things are live. Look at you looking all good. That's a slick look for you. I like the backdrop. You're in a new location tonight.
Yes, I'm in Riverport, Nova Scotia, visiting the family down here, and my sister Riley turned 19 today, so we're out at Jack Astor celebrating with her, and I'm still drinking a beer because I'm on vacation, so deal with it.
I'm all good. We had when we did the post race press conference at Super Dirt Week 2 nights ago. Now I want to say last night. It feels like it, but yeah, we had beer out for the fellas and beer out for ourselves. Why not?
I saw it. I thought you guys
First,
looked good up there. I think you guys did a great job, and of course, we'll be talking a lot about Super Dirt Week on this show tonight as well.
yeah, we're expecting one of the owners of Dirt Track Digest to join us tonight. GT Smith is going to be with us, so that should be fun. We'll chat about what a monstrous undertaking it is to cover one of the biggest motorsports events of the year for a fairly small organization, Clint.
Yeah, Dirt Week has been a big part of our lives for the last 20 or so years. It was something we definitely wanted to go out and conquer, and I think we did a really good job at Dirt Track Digest in the early years of bringing the type of coverage that the sport really needs at a time when it didn't really have that. I mean, we were pre-Instagram, pre-Facebook. I mean, everybody had message boards. That's what made DTD what it was, is it was the one place where fans could gather from all over, and still is, to talk about what the hot topics. And I mean, when you and I had our shows like this, dual airbags, back over the years, we would always go back to Dirt Track Digest and refer to what are the hot topics, what is everybody talking about. And DTD has really expanded their coverage lately, of course, into video productions now. And one thing we've always been proud of it at Dirt Track Digest has been the staff and the contribution of so many great photographers, writers, videographers, web guys. It's been amazing. Even for moderators, lots of guys behind the scenes.
Yeah. Along those lines, let's bring GT in now because he's joined us. He's put the girls to bed, so he's free to come out and play. Spent the week with him last week. GT, good to see you, my man.
Good to see you, Adam.
Clint's
GT,
here as well.
good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, Clint. How you been?
Good, man.
So
Things
we're going to
going
go
well
through
with Dirt Track Digest. And GT, you guys have really been cooking lately. I'll turn it over to Adam now to lead this one because he spent the weekend with you guys down there. I was traveling down to see the family down east. So, Adam, take it away.
Well, first off, GT, let's talk about what it takes to cover an event like Super Dirt Week. So Dirt Track Digest, people don't know what happens behind the scenes. They know that they click on a website and they can get the pictures, they can get the stories. How many people were involved in producing the coverage for Super Dirt Week?
I think all told, Adam, we had between 18 and 20 people total, between photographers, videographers, producers, and editors and writers. So it was a huge team of people that were there covering the event for us.
And we've done things a few different ways over the years. For years, Clinton, we had campers. We had RVs down there for the mile and for the first year at Oswego. And then we went to hotel rooms. This year, though, GT, I don't know whose idea it was, but it was a pretty good one. Dirt Track Digest rented a house, basically went the Airbnb route on the other side of town. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was actually Mike's buddy. They cooked that. We had hotel rooms up until I want to say 2 weeks before the event. And then they struck a deal to rent his buddy's house. So we ended up canceling our hotel rooms. It saved us a bunch of money, and it got him some extra cash in his pocket, and I think it worked out great. In fact, I already talked to Mike. We're doing the same thing again next year.
Nice.
GT,
I wasn't.
Go ahead, Adam.
I was going to say, I was lucky. Connor and I got a king-size bed in the master bedroom, and it was like sleeping on a cloud. we went back Sunday night and stayed at the house again, but the family that lives there was back in the house. But they're buddies with Mike Mallet, so just Connor and I and Mike went and crashed, and I slept on the air mattress that night. That was not so comfy. I don't know how you did that.
Well, Adam, when you go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, it doesn't matter how comfortable it is. You fall asleep on anything.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Clint, so if it's talk about the coverage, stop cutting me off, Adam. No, it's been good. GT, let's talk about how things have gone. Obviously, things were big at the mile with Dirt Track Digest. We've continued that over to what's going on at Oswego. Have you guys, as a guy who's been around it, are you pleased with Oswego as the host? I know a lot of us have spoken our opinions over the years, but what's your thoughts on the Oswego deal?
I love Oswego. I think, my personal opinion is it's the only place in New York that can really that it can really be. You walk into Oswego and it does the track has that big event feel to it. Is it the mile? No, but the mile's not coming back either. So, I love it at Oswego. I think the racing is fantastic. Sunday left a little to be desired, but you're going to have that when the sun's beating down on the track. It's 60 degrees and the wind is blowing at 20 miles an hour consistently all afternoon. You're going to have those kind of races, but we've been really lucky up there. In the past few years, we've seen some great races all throughout Super Dirt Week. So I think that they've hit a home run there, and I think it's going to be there for a long time.
Well, they did announce they were getting in to do a multi-year deal, and of course they haven't announced exactly how long it's going to be, but they are going to keep rolling that way. Let's talk about the action, though. The mile, you needed a special car. You didn't have it. And I think it was Dean that said when they did away with the quick fills on the 358s, the car kind of went from like 50 to 70. And now you can go back to bringing what Dirt Week was supposed to be. You can bring your Saturday night racer and make it happen. I think the biggest problem they got at Oswego is just parking. And, teams, fans, it's when it rains there, which it does every Dirt Week, it becomes a problem. And I think, that's the only issue. But how do you fix that, right?
Yeah, look, they're making improvements every year to it. Is it perfect? No. But, every year things are getting a little bit better. They're making things they're doing the best they can. This year they had over 300 cars. So, you're going to have parking cars is going to be a problem at any dirt track in the state of New York when you've got 300 drivers there. They had guys pitting on Albany Street.
Yeah. The big shift this year, Clint, was all the teams went to Oswego. Like GT said, there was 300 cars in 4 divisions. There was more than 100 sportsmen, more than 80 small blocks, more than 70 big blocks, 40 pro stocks. I don't have any official word. This is my opinion 100%. But within 3 years, you're going to see the satellite shows disappear, and you're going to see all of Super Dirt Week take place at Oswego. If they do run satellites, they'll have to be Monday, Tuesday, because I would say from Wednesday on, people are going to be at Oswego. They are not going to leave. That's what I think Dirt Week is going to transition to, because they had 29 modifieds at Utica Rome. Not sure how many at Weedsport. They had less than that at Weedsport, and they had 25 modifieds at Brewerton. Still good racing, but it's not the 60 or 70 cars we used to see.
They actually had 40 at Utica, or around 40 at Utica Rome, Adam. But you're right. Once they got to Oswego, it seemed like the 358 guys really didn't leave. Aside from Matt Williamson, Mike Mahaney, and Eric Rudolph, at Brewerton, I don't know how many other guys that were really there. Corey Wheeler was running a Jessica Power backup car. The guys
he borrowed a car to go to Brewerton.
There. But the guys who typically run just the satellite shows didn't really run this year. Chad Brockman ran at Brewerton, but that's it. He didn't run Utica Rome or Weedsport.
So that's
I think Dean Reynolds said it best in the post-race show when he talked about when you're at the mile, you get a lot of guys who committed to the mile and the satellite shows, but you have a lot of guys who came down for the week just to be a part of the deal, who didn't have a mile car, so they would run those satellite shows. And now that the situation has changed, and I think I agree with you, Adam. I think the one thing that everybody wants to know with Dean Reynolds being, in that role with World Racing Group is when are we going to see sprint cars at Oswego? And, the problem is pit parking, and I think, we'd even talked about parking in the mall back behind the main grandstands there, a couple blocks over. And
They
the
could
beauty
make
of
it
this
work.
situation, they can get creative. That's what I was just going to lead to. And they can make that happen. I think you would see a 70, 50 sprint, 50, 60, 70 sprint cars show up to race at Oswego on a first time deal. I have no doubt about it.
I don't know if that's the direction they would want to go, but I could see them bringing the sprint car type of racing. Like I could see them going to an Alphabet Soup. I could see them going to a Knoxville Nationals or a Chili Bowl type qualifying format throughout the week. They've already got 4 successful divisions, so they don't need to bring in anything more, but they could. And they could make it the biggest spectacle in dirt racing.
It's funny. Someone mentioned on our message board today, how come why don't they have the outlaw sprint cars there? Why don't they have the outlaw late models there? And at the end of the day, when you think about it as a business, they don't need them. They're, the stands are packed. They're, the big blocks are there. The small blocks are there. You have sportsmen and pro stocks. Why add an extra purse in excess of $60,000? Where, upstate New York is not late model country. You're not really going to get, very few people who are already at Dirt Week or who aren't going are going to say, oh, the late models are there. Now I have to go. You're not going to recoup that kind of money.
No, for sure. When you look at like a World of Outlaw races, 70 to 80,000, I think US right now, it's a big nut to have to put out, when, as you said, they got enough cars. They don't need that. They've got enough star power there. Wayne Dempster adds a comment here. Oswego should race all the races at night and move the Sunday shows to Saturday, move Saturday show to Friday, move Friday and Thursday, and so on. Thursday, and use Sunday as a rain date, or if it's too cold to race at night at Oswego in early October. Well, Super Dirt Week's always cold, and that's never slowed up the show, but
No,
I think Wayne's got a point.
you know who suggested that exact thing? Billy Decker.
One of the guys, right? Yeah.
I mean, there's a guy who's seen it all and done it all. But it is, and that's why my wheels started turning, thinking, you know what, they don't need the satellites anymore. They had satellites because there was opportunity, because there were race teams that the promoters could get to come and run their shows, right? So there was supply and demand. There was a supply of racers. Demand was there. They ran the satellites. Now they don't need them. So I just see things shifting.
Yeah, was it Dean Reynolds made an interesting comment on our post race show, and I don't know if everybody caught it, but I was talking with Mike about it today, and the biggest issue with running, starting on Wednesday, is just getting the people there, right? Everybody's used to coming in kind of Thursday night, because you run time trials during the day, and Brewerton is kind of the big satellite show. But after that, everybody's there, so trying to get everybody in that extra day early, I don't know what that would do to how fans would react to that. But Dean said on Monday that they had 900 camping spots, and by Monday they had a third of them were already full. People were there Sunday night waiting to get in, so they may be able to make it work.
Well, and the Walmart parking lot and parking lots all over the place had campers. Clint, let's go through the rundown of the show. GT's going to hang out with us for a bit. He can share opinions on any of these things, but you brought this up to me throughout.
Let's jump around. I don't mean to cut you off there, Adam, but while we're on topic of Super Dirt Week, farther down the rundown we meant to get to when we brought GT on, but we start off the show with him, is the Super Dirt Week, the 200, the Billy Whitaker 200, being cautioned out. In your post-race show, we heard both Fuller and Decker talk about how many caution laps. I mean, Matt was playing his fuel strategy game, so he was quite all right with all those yellows, I'm sure. But let's talk about the format. So 200 laps, they count yellows till 175, but they only count 4 laps per yellow. It still led to, I mean, you guys had the numbers there. Maybe you can fill me in, but I think it was around, was it 80 green flag laps and 120 caution? Is that where, or somewhere in the ballpark there? Am I totally off, Adam, with the math there? But let's talk about that.
I don't know. I know that Brett Hearns people told him he ran 278 laps. So there were 78 uncounted laps run on Sunday.
GT, what's your thoughts on that? What can they do? Is it a problem, or should they keep it the same?
I'm actually just looking at Mike's article now, and it says if and like Adam mentioned, was 279 total laps based on Brett's crew, or what they had said. So that means 159 laps were run under caution and 120 were green flag laps. So I don't know what, it's a tough spot to be in, because you have to, I like the idea of capping the cautions at 4 laps, but they need to figure out what they can do to get guys from just stopping on, bringing out the intentional yellow. Because every time that happened, you're clicking 4 laps off. Every time a guy gets a flat tire, they're stopping on the front stretch or they're stopping on the back stretch, and it causes a yellow, and it takes 4 laps to get the field woe down behind the pace cars and everything else. So, and then they open pit road. So I don't, there's no real good answer for that, because obviously the drivers are there to win. They're there to do their job. They're there to win the race, so they're going to bring out a yellow, because if they pit under green, obviously their day is pretty much done. But in my opinion, they need to look at that and do something about that, because that's where they're burning through a lot of the yellow flags.
Adam?
And the challenge they run into with live pit stops, so you can't lose a lap in the pits, but they have to secure the field before they can open pit road. So you're at least a lap and a half to get the order right, get your free pass car up to the front of the line. Then you open the pits, and I'm not sure if they have a lead lap down car rule where the first lap lead lap cars come in, second lap down cars can come in, but every caution is going to be at least 4 laps long if they follow that procedure. It's tough to get around that. So what they did in the rules was said, okay, after 4 laps, we're going to stop counting, because they wanted to give people as much green flag action as they could. But GT is absolutely right. It's the people that stop for flat tires, and that's just how it's been. But if you look at accidents, I can think of 3, 4 wrecks. The rest were just real simple stuff, flat tires and crap like that.
I don't particularly have an issue with it. I can see why the drivers, who maybe felt it didn't work out for the strategy, but it's dirt week. It's been the same for 48 years now. It's going to be a long race. There's going to be tons of yellows. I thought the race was great. I mean, I watched it, while we were traveling down on the road, rolling down here to the East Coast, and I thought I was super entertained all day. We had just enough of the carnage that nobody got hurt, but we still had some wild wrecks for the folks that are into that. And we had some good, solid racing. Matt Williamson kind of stunk it up in the last 10 or so, but throughout the day, lots of different leaders, lots of different things. You had that drama. Even, Matt's a friend of ours, to sit there and think, man, I was shitting my pants for the guy. I thought, man, these yellows got to be killing him, because, I was worried about fuel mileage for Matt. And then, a guy like Perego runs out of gas, and you're thinking, man, is he going to make it? So I, for one, don't have an issue with it. I think you know what you're getting when you go to that race. It's not like it was a 6-hour marathon. No offense to the payment folks watching, but most of the payment races takes longer to run their races than it did a 200-lap race that we've seen over here. And I'm all right with the format. I think the big issue you got is those flat tires, because it's a rule that they allow on the Super Dirt Car Series and the modified ranks pretty much everywhere. If you get a flat, the procedures pull up to the right. You get your yellow. In a street stock rule, at Oshweekon where we are at, you pull that crap and Leonard is putting you on the trailer instantly. You just don't get to come back. You don't get to cause intentional yellow. But at Dirt Week, what do? These guys wait their whole season. They've got all the investment, and then they get a flat on lap 1. You know what I mean? Yeah. You kind of got to give them a break. I don't have an issue with it. I thought the whole day was awesome. I thought the show was great.
In my opinion, if Anthony Perego had not run out of fuel, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, because it would have been such an exciting battle between Perego and Williamson. All you take away from a race, it's no different than a basketball game, a football game, is that last rush to the finish, that final opportunity. If you break it down, Brett Hearn probably pitted 10 times in that race. He was on pit road every yellow, adjusting on the car, tweaking on things, topping it up with fuel. So he comes home and finishes in 3rd. There were lots of stories going on. It was entertaining. But if Perego and Williamson had an epic battle for the win, we're not even talking about how long it was. We're just so excited that there's fresh names out there doing battle.
In closing, guys, anything you want to talk about? We'll throw it to GT first. What struck you as Dirt Week? Anything they got to fix? What's your takeaways?
look, I don't think there's really anything they have to fix. I think that they're doing a great job, making improvements every single year. You know, was this year's race the best? No, but like Adam said, had that last yellow not come out, and because Perego was coming, he was going to catch Matt Williamson and make it a race. So had that last yellow come out, we may not even be talking about the race wasn't that great, because we'd only be talking about the last 5 laps of Perego and Williamson doing battle. So, at the end of the day, Super Dirt Week at Oswego, I love it there. I'm definitely going back. We've already started talking about Dirt Track Digest 2020 plans on how we can make it better and do it better to get the coverage out there even sooner than we already are.
No, it was a great job. Adam?
I think it's small tweaks. I'll take the selfish approach, and from a Dirt Track Digest standpoint, Clinton, I think there's little things we can do. I think Dirt Car really made DTD part of the show by adding the stage shows that we did into the official schedule. I think there's so many more things, just little things we could change to really get in front of a lot more people. So no, to me, it's they don't need wholesale changes. They've got a good setup going. That crowd was enormous. I'll bet you the place was 95% full. So you've still got 5% more of seats you can fill up. But no, I think it's a great event.
All right, let's move on to our next topic, which is nicknames in racing. I brought this up because as I was watching, the intro for the 200 is where it got started. Out of those 41 drivers or whatever it was, I think 38 of them had a nickname. Whether it's the Ginger Ninja, the Genoa Giant, it goes on. And we were actually, it almost became comical. And it led me back to thinking some of the guys who hang nicknames. And does everybody need a nickname in racing? That's my question to you, Adam. I didn't know we were going to have GT on the show, but, we start throwing out our comments and topics anytime throughout the week. And I started filling up the inbox earlier in the week, and that was one of the topics. Do we need nicknames, Adam?
If they're deserved. I'll tell you a funny one, and I don't know who gave it to him, but I was always told that Tim Fuller hated the nickname, the Empire Executioner. I think it might have been Rick Eshelman that gave him that nickname. I was told he couldn't stand it. So I'm at Super Dirt Week, and I'm looking at his fire suit. It's got Empire Executioner right down the leg of it. If you hate your nickname, you're not going to have it embroidered on your suit. So I just got a chuckle out of that, because some nicknames are great. Jumpin' Jack Johnson. There was a time when I even liked the Genoa Giant, Pat Ward. He's just a little guy, sort of. But I think some of them go overboard. I hate political correctness, but Ginger Ninja strikes a few bells.
I thought that's one of the more entertaining ones. GT, what's your thoughts on nicknames?
No, I agree with Adam. If as long as they're earned, then it's great. It does it get a little over. Do we go a little overboard? Sure, but I love some of the late model guys' nicknames. The Mac Daddy Dale McDowell. The Moequa Missile Shannon Babb. Like those, some of those are great.
I think those are all Rick Eshelman's deal, like Adam said. That sounds like stuff that come out of Rick's mouth. I'm with Adam. If they're deserved, nothing frustrates me more than a guy who can never get out of the B main is known as Fast Fred or something like that. It's like, no, he's not really that quick. He's not even that good. He doesn't really deserve one. Then you have other situational nicknames like Pinball Guyverson, who's close to our heart, who got knocked down like a pinball. So I spouted it off one night. Now his wife calls him Pinball. So that's a big winner for us. But it's just it goes, and I guess the topic came up because we were laughing on the way, and my wife Christine looks at me and she goes, "Does everybody have a nickname?" And we were only about 5 names in, and then as he starts throwing out the numbers as they're going the lineup, I started throwing all the nicknames out, and she's pissing herself laughing because it went on for 40 drivers, and I was just like, but in that situation, I think they're all deserved because those are the best of the best from their home tracks who all converge at one time. So it kind of makes sense. But as an outsider, she found it comical.
I need you guys to answer me this. Does Stuart Friesen or Matt Shepard have a nickname that's ever really stuck?
Super Matt Shepard. I mean, he's got it on the side of his car and his number.
Yes. But Super Matt has stuck for,
and he's got
forever.
the Superman symbol.
But Friesen people have tried to label a few things on Stu Friesen. I don't know that any of it's ever stuck.
Well, what have you heard? The Big
The
Show, Mr. Freeze.
The
What do you got,
Mr.
GT?
Freeze one is the one. The Mr. Freeze one is the one that I feel like stuck the longest, but it's the one that I can't stand the most.
It's right. It's the worst. It's awful.
I think the one I like is because, you know, I'm friends with some of his buddies, and the Big Show, I think it was the guys around here when he started making the Big Deal. That's his buddies picking on him, saying, "Oh, here comes the Big Show. We all better watch ourselves." And so it's his buddies razzing him, and that's kind of one that stuck that I kind of like. But I don't know. We'd have to get him on and see what his thoughts are.
He's lived up to that Big Show. We better get going through these topics because we've got some
Yeah.
good videos to put forward. GT, you got time to hang around with us for a while?
Yeah, I can hang around for a few more minutes.
The
All right,
next
quickly,
one is
while we're on the topic
near.
of nicknames. Trophy girls. Do we need them? And again, comes from my wife. She's like, what are these girls doing up here? Why do we need them? In today's day and age, are trophy girls still relevant to the project? And silence
Come on,
comes
GT.
over both you.
GT is the photographer.
Well, no. So it's interesting because I was watching something on HBO Sports a few months ago that was talking just about that, and are trophy girls really necessary anymore? And you go down the whole is it sexist kind of comments and everything like that. Same with football. Cheerleaders in football. Are they really needed? I think they add something to the show. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, I was going to say on the cheerleader topic, see, universities actually take it to the next level where the cheerleaders are great athletes. There's men and women, boys and girls, whatever you want to call it, but they're very physically athletic. The Dallas Cowgirls, while they do have solid PR background, I mean, it's about how much you can stuff in those little sparkly tops.
I guess the question was posed to me, guys, and GT as a photographer, maybe you want to answer it. We see the girls down there in the photos with the Heat winners on Friday night, and it was posed to me, are they adding anything to the picture? What is their value in this deal? Now, obviously, they're brand ambassadors out there, but, do we need men out there as well? Do we need muscle-bound guys and girls out there? Thoughts, GT?
I'd argue that the muscle-bound guys and girls are the ones in the fire suits racing the cars around.
Fair point. There's a lot of female racers at Super Dirt Week that do pretty darn well too. So I
Absolutely.
mean, you definitely.
So in that situation, does she really want to be stuck up to a girl? But it's just interesting to talk. I'm surprised we haven't had a lot of our viewers chiming in on this. Everybody's silent on it. Nobody wants to step up and claim it. So we'll hold that on for another day. If you've got comments, let us know. We'll be happy to revisit Trophy Girls any day of the week, I'm sure.
Man.
So anything else you guys want to drop about that? I'll leave it there myself. And next thing we've got to roll into is an interesting topic.
Yeah, I got nothing more on Trophy Girls. There haven't now.
All right.
I do have something more on Trophy Girls. Going back a couple of decades, Robin Smoker, Anna Marie Malfitana, there were people who launched PR careers by being trophy girls, trophy queens. That was a time when it was a foot in the door of people who had great careers in the industry. I don't see that happening anymore.
Interesting. Dustin DeBoer says, Oshweekend has mascots. No controversy with them as trophy presenters. No, that's true, but the kids like them. But John Carley jumps in and says, I don't want to get in trouble. So there are some thoughts on it, but you guys feel free to keep them. And of course, they start throwing out the names of some good ones like you did, Adam. And of course, interesting topic, though. We'll keep that going. This brings us to our next topic, and this is something also that came out of social media where I don't want to name names, but I seen a driver who, how can I set this up? There's two racing series race the same type of cars in Ontario, let's say. Well, Autumn Colors has their big racing at Peterborough, Autumn Colors Classic. They're big, basically Canadian pavement. For us dirt guys, it's their equivalent of Super Dirt Week where all the divisions come together at Peterborough. Well, the driver was trying to get confirmed to race with the group who is the sanctioning body. He's got a car that comes out that is sail paneled out. It's visibly, you can see it's wrong. But then he comes out and says, I'm not going, and then without getting the whole story out, basically just says I got screwed in a number of words. All of his friends and supporters jump on and start throwing shade at the sanctioning body, who are really just upholding the rules. And I thought it was kind of not very impressive. Adam, I think that is certainly something that could tear us apart. And your thoughts on that?
You said it best, Clint. I mean, it's not up to it's a privilege to race. It is a privilege to race in different events. These promoters put on these events. Nobody is entitled to be there. Do it the way the promoters want you to do it, or don't do it. It's their sandbox.
No, I agree, and especially as a guest too. You don't even race with this series full time, and I just found it was a little bit off kilter, and it actually got straightened out. A few of the internet took care of it, let's say, in the days since we posted that as a topic. So, and GT, we've seen that a lot on Dirt Track Dive. Over the years, we've had lots of great moderators who kind of let the conversation flow, but kind of keep it in check. And many times we've seen the internet police itself, right?
It tends to police itself for the most part. But yeah, I mean, if you're presenting a car to a series that doesn't conform to that series rules, I don't know what your argument is. Like there's a rule book, follow it. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. You know what? Someone just brought up Mandy Pouch. Wayne Debster says, hat off to Mandy Pouch for the coverage she brings to racing. Mandy, good looking girl, but she does a great job. And it's not just based off a sexist approach. She's got substance behind what she's bringing to every video, and it's taken off for her.
Mandy Pouch is the next Robin Smoker or the next Anna Marie Malfitana. She's going to be a millionaire. Mark my words. The steam she has building up with the products that she represents, she is going to be a millionaire.
Thoughts on the coverage there, GT?
No, look, Mandy does a great job with her stuff. Her vlogs. People, that she gets a ton of views. People are watching her vlogs to see what she has to say. Mike Mahaney made some news on Sunday, and no one could wait for the vlog on Monday. So, I agree with Adam. She's, what she's doing is great.
I've never seen Mike Mahaney so pissed off. He's generally a cool cat, but
so let's jump. Let's jump.
I was all right with the fire he threw out.
Let's jump to that. I think we have the video for it. That was a later topic, wasn't it?
Oh, really? Well,
Spencer, do you have that video? It is the video. It's the Ryan Watt interview. Shoot, let me have a look. Okay, start it with full sound, because this is irony at its best.
Well, we need to set up a bit better. Mahaney.
No. The beauty is it'll be Watt. It'll be in the interview.
I'll let it go then.
Don't set up anything. Ryan Watt, just over 135 laps in. It looks like your day's over here in Oswego. What happened?
We, the track's kind of brutal down there with that hole in turn 3 and 4, and we got through it pretty good there. And Mike was kind of holding us up a little, but I got a good run on him down the front stretch, and he really slowed the check up going into 1 a lot. And I got on the brakes, but I just locked my brakes up, and it's real slippery out there. When you get on the brakes that hard, you lock them up so easy, and I just slid in the back of him. I mean, that's all that happened.
How challenging is the racetrack today? We've seen a lot of guys make numerous trips into the pits. Were you satisfied with how your car was running?
I was okay with the way the car was, but the track changes every lap. I mean, when we ran a couple long flag runs there, the bottom really rubbered up. But then it seemed like as we paced around, and guys that put fresh tires on, they could roll the middle and pull ahead there. So, I mean, it seems like tires are definitely a big thing.
Tough way to end your day, Ryan.
Yes. Well, we'll try again next year.
Ryan Watt is the reason I didn't want you to build into that interview is so that was Mike Mahaney jumping on the trunk lid of Ryan Watt's car and beating the crap out of his car. They put him into a safety vehicle and drove him directly out of the facility. So Clinton, put yourself in Ryan Watt's shoes. Someone sticks a microphone in your face 30 seconds later. What are you going to do?
Well, I mean, it's tough. You got to come. You got to be cool because you know everybody's going to see it, right? But that can be tough at times.
So what he did was, yeah, that was my bad. He was slowing me up a little. He owned it that he locked off the brakes, didn't mean to do it, and wrecked my. Most people are like, that stupid son of a whatever beating the crap out of my car, but he totally took the high road. I am not usually at a loss for words, but after he gave that answer, I was waiting for a but. I was waiting for him to comment on it, and he didn't. Like, I don't know where the hell to go from here. So I sort of stuttered and came up with another question. But it was a really classy move by Ryan Watt. And I love Mike Mahaney. I feel bad that he had a frustrating weekend, but man, oh man, he blew his top there for a minute.
Did you watch Mandy's video today, Adam?
No, I'll have to pull it up. Is it good?
So she went and spoke to Ryan afterwards. And I Sunday afternoon I watched her walk over there and I was like, oh, this might be good. You're just kind of watching, and she basically posted in the video that, look, right, yeah, I get it. He basically said the same thing to her that he said to you, that I locked up the brakes and I did everything I could to stay off of him and slid into him. But I'd probably be he basically told Mandy, if the shoe was on the other foot, I'd probably be the one jumping on the deck lid of the car. So he understood what was
going on. He never struck Ryan Watt. He never punched Ryan. He never kicked Ryan. He took all of his frustrations out on the bodywork of that car. But to me, it was just fascinating. And like I say, he was removed directly from the facility. His girlfriend, Mandy, is still stuck on the infield with everybody else like we were. So that was real interesting to watch play out.
Now, Adam, when you say they marched him out of the facility, was that like we saw at Jukasa where they actually took him out to the road, like right out of the pits?
I don't think they took him out to the road, Clinton, but they took him out the turn 3 gate, so nobody could get to him for another 2 hours while the race is going on. In fact, let's jump around the schedule a little bit more. Let's look at our Burger Barn video submission, so I think Doug Leonard and Dirt Car did exactly the right thing. They froze the situation. They separated. Let's look at the Burger Barn video submission from Autumn Colors. And this is a perfect example how not to deal with a problem. They're coming to the white flag. Spencer, are our microphones still hot?
Yeah.
So look at the size of the driver that just got out of that car. He basically picked up the official and set him down. It would have taken 8 officials to get this guy under control.
That's when you keep you buckle them.
That's right. Leave the window net up.
Just hold on. Yeah.
And this is where it starts to get bad. They marched the driver through the crowd. Okay, there's a little bit of language here. So this is what happens when you don't remove the drivers. Now you take them into the pits where there's 100 people that participate in the fight. Like, why would you do that? Who does that?
They brought him into the fan grandstands?
They walked him in front of the fan grandstands. There's both drivers right there. So nobody was removed from the facility. They take him into the pits where every racer in Ontario is at that event. Look at this mob. Think of how bad this could have turned.
Look at how big that guy is. He's a head and shoulders above everybody in the whole crowd.
The other driver's pretty beefy as well, but I just think you want to diffuse these situations. not escalate them.
Yeah,
They would have
instead
been
of
better off.
diffusing it, they basically gave everybody a chance at Autumn Colors to take a poke at him, right? Fans and drivers alike. Yeah, that's a crazy way to go about it. But I bet it sold some tickets for next week.
Probably
So that's
did.
our Burger Barn submission of the week. I would want to thank everybody for sending that over. I just want to talk quickly about Burger Barn, guys. As you know, we got some great stuff to talk about. The world famous Burger Barn, located in Six Nations, Ontario, your destinations for a relaxed dining experience. Their menu features traditional favorites served with the Burger Barn twist, complete with all the fixins. Their Southern style comfort food is sure to satisfy the appetite. Bring the whole family and experience their down home cooking for yourself. You'll never forget your first time, and we're sure you'll be back for more. All at reasonable prices. Don't forget Burger Barn gift cards available in the denomination of $2 to $200. A perfect gift for anybody, anytime. And while you're there filling up your tummy, don't forget to stop at their brand new Petrol Plus travel stop right next door, open from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day to serve you. So thanks a lot to everybody at Burger Barn, Jay Hill and his staff, for getting behind our Rivalz Race Chat program, and they will be providing our weekly submission video of the week. So, and that's one thing that we're super proud about. We started the show, we've been rolling along, and now we have people sending us videos saying, hey, you guys got to talk about this week, and that's cool. So thanks everybody for jumping on board. Certainly interesting. Sticking with Autumn Colors, Adam, one of the other situations we had there was the Young Guns race, and they let Kaden Lapsovich go out there and race a mini stock and dominate. Now, you know, former NASCAR champion, you race with all the big guys. Should Kaden Lapsovich really be out there in a mini stock dominating the Young Guns race when in a race that's supposed to be made for other young guns? You know, if you're that far up the ladder, should you be going back and dipping into that waiting pool, I guess is the question. I'll pose it to you. I know you're tight with the Lapsoviches. I like them too. Who's at fault there for letting that happen? Is that Caden for jumping in the car, or is that something in the rules should limit him? I personally think the rules should limit it so he doesn't even have to make that decision. Obviously, Caden's a racer and he's going to jump in any opportunity he can to race. But in my opinion, he shouldn't be in that race at all.
Right. First and foremost, let's thank GT for spending some time with us tonight. I think he's got to go be a part of his family for a little while. So GT, thanks for joining us. Have an awesome night. We look forward to seeing you next Tuesday as part of the Team Dirt Track Digest iRacing group. So we'll see you next Tuesday, buddy.
We'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Clint, for having me.
Yeah, thanks for taking the
Great
time,
to see you,
man.
buddy.
So
back to our topic.
Back to Caden Lapsovich. Sorry about that. GT just fired me off a message. I think I can bail. So yeah, of course.
That's all good.
He's been away for a while. I think it's fine that Caden Lapsovich drives a mini stock. Drive whatever you want. I do not think it's fine to have him in a Young Guns, which is, to me, it's supposed to be an up and comers race. He's not an up and comer. He's already there. So in that sense, it seems a little bit silly. But I don't know how structured those races are anyhow. It seems to be pretty laid back.
Well, to me, it falls under the same thing as a mechanics race. Okay, many years we had mechanics races on the dirt. And what you have is, okay, let me tell you this way. I got asked to drive in a mechanics race one night. I don't have any experience, limited. I mean, I've hot lapped a bunch of things. I maybe raced 5 real races in my whole life. And even then, it was jump in and go. But the media race. So I'm out there in the media race. I get beat in a street stock. So at the time, it was like Billy Bleach Jr., his dad, Billy Bleach Sr., who was a modified 350. Modifier jumped in the car. The other one was another sportsman guy. His dad jumped in the car. And I'm like, wait a minute now. George Bossy. So his son, Michael Bossy, was racing a street stock. So I'm going out there as a pure rookie. I finished third to those two guys. I was pissed because I'm like, wait a minute now. Why should I have to race 358 modified drivers when I'm in a one-off mechanics race? I realize they're mechanics and work on the kids' cars, but we got to set some rules here to make this. And then I became the manager, and it's still something that's tough to limit, but you got to have those rules in because it spoils it for the guys who really have the right spirit out for those events, you know?
In fairness, you're not a mechanic either. If I get what you're saying, 100% I get what you're saying, but
so I shouldn't have been eligible either, right? Is what you're saying?
I'm saying if you want to take a hard line approach to rules and regulations of these types of races, and that's not the point of them. But you're right. Racers shouldn't be racing in novelty events.
No, pretty wild. So, anyways, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, that gets changed in the future. And this isn't the first year it's happened. I mean, and I'm not just picking on Cade and ACC. I mean, that's gone on many places over the years. It's been a big frustrating thing for a lot of the fans. So that's something that we definitely want to talk about. I know it was a hot topic of conversation on social media this week. So
ultimately, and I think this is the difference between some events and some other events, don't stink up my show. If I'm the promoter,
yeah,
I'll put you out there as a novelty. You better play by my rules, like start a lap down or start at the back or toy with them until there's a lap. Like you better bring something to the program, but I don't think that's thought about enough. Don't waste your fans' time by putting bullshit
maybe
on the
racetrack. Maybe the thought is you get Caden in a mini stock that way and you get him in the show and people pay to see it. So he's certainly a draw. Either way, a hot racer, no doubt about it. Good luck to Caden.
Was there
I'm
a
not
trying
to pick on him, but
was there a trophy
Good
girl
question.
to present his trophy?
We'd have to find out. Next submission brings us to speed over safety. You know, Adam, for many years, drivers have, and I mean, I don't even tell you, you worked at Leaf Racer for many years. You tried to sell safety gear to these drivers. Let's talk about drivers' mentality in the safety gear. And I don't know, Spencer, if you got that picture that I sent you earlier today, in today's racing, you know, and then this was put up by Steve Trendle. He posted a comment today about this. So there you see basically a non-containment seat wrapped over the back end of a bar. So it's basically not installed properly, I would say, or didn't have the proper supports. Steve Trendle, veteran racer in the Ontario scene, said, I quote, "In today's racing, it scares the shit out of me seeing some of the seats in race cars. It's 2019, people. Buy a freaking full containment seat already. Would you rather spend $500 on a seat or break your effing neck? This picture gives me the chills. It's time for people to realize to get with the times, and every division is faster and faster, yet safety always takes a back seat." I think he brings up a great point, Adam. What are your thoughts on that? And you see this seat, man, that could easily be a big problem.
Yeah, that's a bad day. There were some really hard crashes in the pro stock race at Syracuse and Clinton. You've seen a lot of pro stock races going back to our days at the mile at the New York State Fairgrounds, and those cars could be pretty sketchy. I made it a point to go and look at the cars when they towed them in. I was pretty excited to see that the drivers had containment seats. I'm telling you, the one front bumper was punched back through the radiator back into the engine. They hit so hard, and they hit the other car T-boned on the right side, right at the rear end. If it had been a front of the rear end, it might have been an uglier situation. But I was really pleased to see that those drivers had containment seats, because that's the sort of thing that can have a tragic outcome. So there are things
that was a
scare
vicious
me
hit.
a lot.
That was a vicious hit. He hit him full tilt. It's almost one of those ones where you know, when he come into the picture, so you don't see him coming around. He just comes into the picture late, and you're like, man, you almost think my first thought was his eyes closed? Like he hit him full tilt, right in the side, and just tuned that car. And it was great to see them both walk away virtually uninjured. You know, I didn't even think they were limping when they walked out of there. So it was good to see them both crossing the track and getting it done.
Yeah, it was so. So in terms of safety, do what you need to do. Build safe race cars. You can take a good seat from one car to the next, to the next, to the next. Invest in it once, and you're good to go.
Well, I would say, you know, close to my home is my brother Mikey, who you see his race winning pictures there on my dad's wall behind me. Mikey, the very first thing he bought, he sold his Sportsman, bought a containment seat, was his very first purchase. He just got hired by Mike Stelter. He drove down to Fulton for the rain out on Saturday to fire up the car. I said, "You jumping in his car?" He said, "No, I'm taking my seat." So Mike has carried that seat about the last 12 to 15 years. I'd say 12 years now, from race car to race car to race car. Even when he drove for Steyer's last year, he's taken that seat with him everywhere he's gone. And it's taken him through some pretty wild wrecks, that Butler built containment seat he's got. And so there you go. Shows you an investment. Like you said, Adam, you can take it from car to car to car and keep it with you like a good pair of undies. So the racing has started, Adam, and the iRacing League. Let's talk about that quickly. You know, I don't want to jump ahead too much. Well, let's just show us a quick clip, Spencer, and we'll keep talking on the show. But the Speaking Outlaws Racing League has got underway. So we'll get back to them there at Knoxville, and I see they're in between races, so we'll cut back to them in a minute. Spencer, I love the new layout, by the way. That looks awesome. So we'll come back to that. Let's talk about fans donating to Jennifer Jo Cobb. So at Talladega on the weekend, Jennifer Jo Cobb. So a car loses its engine. She flat spots her tires coming in. She's got one set of tires. So as I'm just going back through my scroll here to find the actual story to read it to you. So Jennifer Jo Cobb, you know, she's sitting on pit road, and I can't believe this. She says, while the field continued to race under green, Cobb said she sat in her truck, buckled in, trying to think of her head of any personal credit card she'd have enough limit for her to buy a set of tires. She says, I quote, I was literally on pit road calculating if I had a credit card somewhere that I could put one set of tires on. We just can't afford to buy tires, she says. So as she's sitting there on pit road, some fans who seen what she was going through came up and bought her a set of tires and donated, and she came back into the track all these laps down. So Adam, my question to you is that right for NASCAR to allow a car in their top level league that can't even afford more than one set of tires? It's an embarrassment to the sport. And what is the deal there? And I don't want to pick on Jennifer Jo Cobb, but I'm calling a spade as a spade here. Okay? They've come with trucks that barely run at CTMP. I mean, I spot turn 5 the last 4 years, and those trucks, all the spotters are joking about. I said I could run faster up the back at Mario Andretti straight than they're coming out of turn 5. It's sad. It's real sad. So why is NASCAR letting this go and sour their product is what I want to know.
I've got a couple of thoughts. One, it's a piss poor investment by whoever bought her those tires to go out laps down.
No shit.
Yeah, that's not a good return on investment. Get that set of tires for the next race when maybe you won't be a lap down. Something smells really fishy to me about that whole story. It's concocted PR. How would that happen, Clint? How would that possibly happen? Did the fan read her mind while she was sitting in the truck trying to rack her brain over credit cards she may not have?
Well, it's no secret that they're under budget and don't have tires. But
yeah, but you've been to a car race before.
Finally, a couple, and this is quoted from Jennifer Jo Cobb, finally, a couple of NASCAR fans that have a spot on the Talladega Boulevard were so nice to our team and chipped in and ran to Goodyear and bought us a set of tires. That does smell like crap to me too, but why is NASCAR letting this get out? Why are they letting her participate? Why don't we have, you wouldn't be able to come in with half a carburetor and say, oh, I can't afford a 4-barrel carb, or where, I'm talking old school because obviously they're injected or whatever it is now. But you know what my point is. You could come in and say, well, we can only afford half a spoiler, so hopefully we can get through it. I just think it's sad. Do we need trucks that bad that we're letting them come out and be that ill-equipped that they can't even compete?
Here's my take on that. If you can qualify for the race, run the race. So I'm not going to knock NASCAR for
I can see that side.
I'm gonna knock NASCAR for Black Flag and Stuart Friesen and Brett Moffitt.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. One thing I'd like to say though about the Jennifer Jo Cobb deal is, I see it, Adam. If you can qualify, you can get in. I see that point, but when you only have like 30 or something trucks, you don't even have a full field. What's stopping us from pulling up with a half-ass truck and getting in the field? It's just okay. They're getting away with it now, but it could very easily become an ugly eyesore for them if too many teams got that plan together.
Let's go back to our previous topic about safety equipment. Why does the NASCAR Pinty Series not get 30 cars to the road courses anymore? A lot of it is because the safety upgrades that they have to do to the cars cost a lot of money. There's a lot of cars sitting there that could use a fuel cell or a fire suppression system or a new rated driver's seat. And the teams just can't justify investing that money to put a car together. I'm going to go way back to Super Dirt Week. Gary Lindbergh qualified for the big block modified race in Freddie Carlton's car. I don't even think Freddie Carlton qualified when the Tour came to Merrittville this year. But here they go down to Dirt Week with an open trailer towing behind Freddie's motorhome. And that car sat there up on stands all week long. Gary Lindbergh drove the wheels off it, qualified it in. Now, I'm not comparing Freddie Carlton to Jennifer Jo Cobb, but I'm saying you can't look on the surface and say, okay, well, just because you don't look as impressive as these teams do, you can't come in our race. Sometimes things will surprise you, like when Norm Benning qualified for the first Eldora truck race and everyone was pitching in to help him out. Like, that was authentic. That was genuine desire by the race teams to see Norm Benning qualify for that race. This stuff's concocted.
I would agree with you that you can't judge a book by its cover, right? Because we've seen guys come to our nationals and qualify in an open trailer when everybody's got all these other. What are you doing? But you can't judge a book by its cover. But in that story, and NASCAR has read that book with this subject way too many times to let this go on any further in my books. So we'll see how that plays out. But Freddie's deal, that was a combined deal. That was the Kendricks put the motor in there. That was Freddie's chassis, I think. And Freddie's just a big fan of Lindbergh, and I know they're competitors and good. And they put that deal together. So good on them to get down there and do it. That'll take us to our Jennifer Jo Cobb rant. I don't know. For some reason, that story just pissed me off, And so get back to something else that pissed me off. Obviously, Stuart Friesen leading that race, Adam. He gets a pass-through penalty for locking up. When you're the leader of the race at a super speedway, what are you going to do? Brake check the guy? Swerve him off your tail? You're stuck, man. Like, what could Stuart Friesen have done in that situation to prevent himself from getting that penalty, other than being out front and leading?
I disagree with the penalty because I don't believe they did lock bumpers. And watching that again, I believe they executed perfectly how you should do that. Now, what if it wasn't his teammate behind him? What if it was someone else who was racing in the chase? Or what if it was someone else who was racing in the chase's teammate? So I'm going to go up there and I'm going to push Stuart Friesen for 2 laps and get us both black flagged. My teammate who's racing for the points is still... Because like you say, Stuart, there's nothing Stuart Friesen could do to prevent that, really.
No, and I mean, like, that's sneaky. I like that. That's something I would have come up with, But you're right. What's to prevent somebody from going out and ruin Stuart's day on purpose like that? Let's say they did lock up Adam, though. I'll give you that. I didn't see definitive proof to say that they did lock up and that the penalty was even. Let's say it was. Let's say they were locked up from turn 2 all the way into 3. My question still says, what could Stuart Friesen have done any differently in that situation? What did NASCAR expect the leader to do? Right? Like, what can you do? There's not a damn thing he could have done there to prevent that. Maybe put on the brakes and let him go by, but I don't know. I thought it was interesting. And sad that they did that.
Yeah, I didn't think it was the right call. But again, making the right calls all the time is hard, Clinton. We know that. But there are a whole bunch of...
Who does seem to make a lot of right calls is Trip Bruce from Stewart. Now, when I got a chance to spot with them this year, solid guy, man. Stewart's got a great guy in his corner. And I remember I was texting with my dad because my dad's a big fan. We watch all the races, and I send him all the links. And I keep Dad going on with Stewie and what's going on there. And he grew up with Joel and Jamie Friesen at Ransomville Racing. So he's a big fan of Stewart. And we got going on about it. And I was just telling him, I said, he's got a great crew chief. I said, watch this. They're going to come back. Like, Trip won't let him quit. Not that Stewie would, but he's just all positivity. So good luck to Stewart going into the finish. Wow, we've already cooked off an hour. We do have a couple quick topics to get through here. We'll jump into the Shweekan Outlaws now. They're pacing around at Knoxville. Adam, I'll leave it to you.
Did you qualify, Connor? You're on the pole?
Yeah.
Attaboy. See, I had to ask Connor how he did. So you won your heat? Attaboy. I get excited about this, Clint.
You're a super proud iRacing dad. I noticed that about you. Always talking the boy up, and it goes to show.
We fight seriously. If you could be in the room, we swear at each other and fight, and he's got a bad attitude. But no, I'm pretty excited to watch what he can do because I can't afford to buy him a race car, Clinton.
So he's the hothead driver, and you're the hothead owner. Is that how it works?
He's pretty wound up. Yeah, he gets irritable
so
when things don't go his way.
What race are we watching here? Do you know?
It's got to be a qualifying heat.
All right. Let's jump in and listen to Brad Evans call this race full screen, Spencer, for a couple laps here.
2. Lacey takes it all the way down to the inside lane and now tries to run the middle. Swafford's looking for a way around. And Jordan Hack right with these guys. Hack aboard the 39. He's got to contend with Brett Mahalski. Your top 4 cars under a blanket as they go into turn number 3. Mahalski and Hack make contact, and Hack is sideways. Hack is upside down in turn number 4 after the contact with Mahalski. Mahalski with the contact there with Hack. I was a little too far away to see how that all happened, but there was some contact with Hack getting upside down. Mahalski up to 3rd and now looking for 2nd into turn 1. He'll do battle with Brennan Lacey as they work through the 2nd turn. Your leader now is Chase Swafford. Swafford with the lead. Lacey hanging tough on the outside lane. So Lacey doing, and they make contact into turn 1. So Mahalski with the hip check on the entrance to turn number 1, and he'll move up to 2nd. Lacey back to 3rd, and Lacey's got to stay right there. Driver who made it up through the Rebels division tonight, currently running 3rd. He's got to stay right there. Jean-Pierre Laporte in car 301 currently rides 4th. As they work through turns 3 and 4, Swafford continues to show the way. Mahalski starting to close in on him. Battle for 3rd. Hold on to it, Brennan Lacey. He falls back to 4th as he's been like a pinball here in heat race number 2. And he's got to hold on to that 4th spot because trying to chase him down right now. As the checkered flag comes out, no chasing will be done there.
Even in iRacing, people get right reared.
Man, I love Brad Evans' call. Or Stephen Evans. Those guys do such a great job of producing that stuff. It's Stephen, right? Brad's the producer. Steve Evans. I'm so excited to have him come on and call our race, which kicks off next week, Adam. So we're highly involved with these guys, partnership now, and we have basically 2 solid nights of racing developed right now. We are super excited that the Rivalz Elite League gets underway next week, and while we watch them go at Knoxville, let's just explain for any of the viewers who maybe aren't up to speed what iRacing is. So obviously it's a simulation. What you're watching is real drivers at their homes and businesses and wherever their setup is, all coming together on a server, being broadcast and commentated and policed all from over the internet. And it's super exciting. We have some of the best iRacers coming out. The Rivalz Elite League kicks off next Tuesday. So this is, Adam, I always screw up the Monday stuff, and I'm going to have to do my homework this week to get it right. And Roger Craig does such a great job. Fill me in on what's going on with the names and the titles, because I don't want to insult anybody. I should really know all this, but it's the Oshweekon Outlaws at Knoxville right now. But
the Oshweekon Outlaws.
I can't keep up.
No, exactly. This is basically the premier division of the Oshweekon Outlaws. So this race to Rivalz was a 4 or 5 race mini series where the top 3 drivers will get to race in the Rivalz Elite next Tuesday night. So they will have guaranteed spots on Tuesday night to come and race with us. So yeah, you've got the Renegades and the Rebels. There's lots. I believe he's got 5 divisions he wants to get started. But what Roger Craig wants from the Oshweekon Outlaws is a simple ladder system where people can come with no experience, with more experience. Obviously, the people with the most experience would probably be running the Rivalz Elite Pro League or the Rivalz Gauntlet on Tuesday night. But otherwise, he's got a system to get all the way up through and encourage racers to come out and race with people of similar driving skill or similar experience level. And it's really a great thing that he's doing. So I'm pumped up that we've connected with him. I'm pumped up that we've got the Brad and Steven involved because their broadcast, let's be frank, Lynn, I think their broadcast is better than ours was.
Why did I tell you we had to get him on board? I thought they did an amazing job developing that. And that's what we do on Spencer and our team here, but they really concentrate on it, and it's been great. And I mean, the brother team do a great deal at it. It's been great. You know, it's been super cool to have them. And I'm excited. What I'm excited about is next Tuesday, you and I are going to be able to still have this race chat. We're going to be able to talk. And I think the format you're seeing right now on the screen is kind of what you're going to see. You're going to see the Rivalz Elite racing going on in the background, at which point you'll be able to, I think, I got to check with Spencer, but you should be able to just watch that exclusively if you want, or you could watch us together. It's going to be an amazing deal. Let's talk quickly about all the teams we've got coming on board, Adam, before we talk about Six Nations Bingo and what they've got going on.
Wow. So we had 2 more teams coming on board announced. Well, they haven't been announced yet, but we can let you in on it. One of them is the UDSRA folks, and they are going to race for Team NREAM. So it's going to be Dakota Kuhn, Troy Wagaman, Larry Moody, and David Flick. We are really excited to have those guys join us. There is one more team of people that we are talking to. We're not quite ready to announce it yet, but we're up to 35 entries. So this week we will be reaching out to all of the drivers who have expressed interest in entering to talk about paying their entry fee and coming out next week. But we are going to have more than a full field of cars. The schedule is going to be released this week. In fact, Spencer should have our schedule that he can throw up on the screen. Race number 1 will be next week. I believe we start at the dirt track at Charlotte. My goodness, I just read it not long ago.
Eldora.
Eldora is where we start. Yeah, Eldora first, Charlotte is the second week. The Gauntlet event is going to be at the same track we race at for the Elite event. So we'll have the Gauntlet event at Eldora. Then we're going to have the Elite event at Eldora at 9 o'clock. The schedule starts on October 22nd. It winds up April 7th. Top 17 finishes count. So these drivers have 3 drop nights, Clinton. And what we have avoided, the only weeks we've really specifically avoided are the World Finals, or did we still schedule against them? I don't see where we've taken any weeks off.
I don't see that either.
At that time, anyhow. So this is the schedule as it is right now. Everyone that we've got on our sign-up sheet is going to be notified in the next few days. And we've got, let me pull it up here on my computer.
Well, while you pull that up, I just want to explain to the viewers watching. So, Elite Pro Division is an entry fee where you can win money. You have to pay to enter, similar to playing golf or hockey. There's an entry fee, but it's put with the best of the best, and you're going to get a chance to win some serious cash. There's a point fund. There's weekly payouts. So, the other thing we want to talk about is our the Gauntlet race, which you mentioned, Adam, is kind of like the qualifier. So if you don't have any investment in and you want to try and race, if you can win the Gauntlet race, you can qualify to race that night with the Elite Pro teams. And what's on your tongue that you just can't wait to get out?
Spencer, I need you to put up Wayne Dempster's most recent comment. Wayne Dempster. Let me scroll back up here. His comment was, how come real sprint car drivers don't race online? Well, Mr. Dempster, Christopher Bell is one of the biggest advocates for iRacing that there is. That dude will drive anything. And he thought it was so cool this summer when I introduced him to Alan Downey, a driver at Oshwegan Speedway in the crate sprint car division. I said, Christopher, this is Alan. He iRaced, enjoyed it enough that he bought himself a sprint car. And Clinton, how well did Alan Downey do in a crate sprint car this season?
I think he did very well. Alan was a great addition to our field, a real gentleman in the pit area too, and that's as a manager who has to deal with these hot-headed drivers. Is another gentleman is always welcome. We believe he's a university professor, well-educated, and came out, man. He's been racing for a long time, so he was a fan of the stands, found iRacing, and then just came out. And he goes to show that, and as did Alain Bergeron, who is the iRacing world champion, who has expressed interest in Rivalz, and we're going to get him all finalized.
He's watching. He's watching the show right now.
Oh, hey, Alan. So,
Alex.
It goes to show you that Alex. Jesus, I'm way out. Well, I am a beer and a half into it, so I'll take that as my deal. Let's talk about though. To have Alex Bergeron, the iRacing world champion, join our Rivalz of Racing Elite League, and It's not something we were sure we wanted you in, Alex, because we were concerned. Were you going to beat up on our guys? But I think if we're calling it the elite, we need the best of the best. I fought with you, Adam, and said, hey, it's an open deal. Just like your Jennifer Joe Cobb. If he can qualify, he can come in. And Alex is a great deal. But Alex, why I brought this up is he's another guy who was an iRacing dynamo who got out with the 360s, came out this year, and didn't look bad in his first full weekend with the ESS. And it just goes to show you this can give you the training you need to make it happen in real life.
In the immortal words of the great Ric Flair, to be the best, you have to beat the best. And I'm not going to give a woo because Spencer's ears would blow up, but we've got the best.
It's funny you say woo. I was out in my dad's backyard before we come on, and you could hear the echo up through the valley. I mean, he lives in the middle of the ocean here. It's beautiful. And I was giving Ric Flair woos just to hear them echo off the back of the trees, and because it went on about 6 echoes in a row. It was great. But so, Adam, people want to get involved with our Rivalz Elite League. How can they contact us? They're going to need to get signed up in the next week here.
Yeah. So what you want to do is go to www.facebook.com/Rivalz Racing. Send me a message. And it can be as simple, Clinton, the sponsor that we were talking about that's up on Highway 6 that you and I have to go and have a meeting with. His son is really interested. So I've gotten my computer guy together with him. It looks like it's about $800 to buy a computer system that is good for iRacing. It's all we use. Connor just won his heat at Knoxville using that setup. So between that 800, another 500 for pedal wheel, like steering wheel and pedals, you can get less than $1,500. You can go and race with the best in the world. So send a message on the Rivalz Racing Facebook page and just say, hey, I heard you on the Race Rivalz Race Chat. Wanted to send you a message and learn a little bit more. Send to my personal Facebook. Just send me a note. This is the goal. The goal is to get people racing. And Terry Baker was one of the ones that asked. Terry's kids are racing micro sprints. By all means, they should be iRacing in the winter. I know it's pretty hectic when you got kids and sports and things going on, but it's there. Take advantage of it. I listened to Noah Gragson on NASCAR radio today, about 3 hours he spends on a simulator on a given night to get ready for the next track.
Yeah, and you even see the NASCAR teams and even the manufacturers. I mean, we talked about Stuart Friesen. I heard him talk that, Chevrolet had them in their simulator to get ready for Mosport and CTMP. So it's great. We got a few minutes left, ladies and gentlemen. We'll extend the show for maybe about 5 or 10 more minutes. If you have any comments, feel free to throw them out. I definitely want to jump in and watch some of this races with you guys before we get off. But first, we have one of our newest and supporters. They've been with our Schweeken Speedway for a long time. They jump on board here with Race Rivalz. I want to welcome everybody to Six Nations Bingo. Whether you're looking for new experience or you're bingo fanatic, Six Nations Bingo has been on the preferred choice for players for over 20 years. Easily accessible just off of Highway 54 between Brantford and Caledonia. They offer the largest and friendliest bingo hall in the region. Join them for the many bingo and holiday specials where you could win even more cash. Check out Monster Bingo, Super Sundays, Must Go Super Jackpots, 24-ball bingo, and their monthly birthday specials. And while you're up there, make sure you sign for their Grand Rewards Club and earn valuable points every time you play. That's Six Nations Bingo, 2585 Chiefswood Road, just north of Highway 54. Find them online at sixnationsbingo.ca. And they're about, I want to say, 2 kilometers north of Schweeken. So if you know where the track is, just head about a mile or 2 kilometers up the road and you'll find the bingo hall. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but they've got 2 separate rooms. One is non-smoking, the other is whatever you want to think. So
the other is the alternative.
Go up there and check them out.
So here's someone who brings in tens of millions of dollars every year to the Six Nations. And Clinton, he is interested in what we are doing with e-gaming. Just based on not saying, hey, he's a fan, but saying you guys are onto something. He's connected with what the next trend is. He says, I want to talk to you guys. I want to know more about what it is you're up to, because he feels that we're on the right track. So here's someone who is wildly successful. He also thinks we have just scratched the surface of something great. Pretty exciting that he wants to get involved with this, Clinton. it's fun. It's fun to see. It's fun for me to think about where this could possibly go.
I got to throw it to you because you're the one that brought us into this game. I still don't partake in the simulation, but I see the future in it. One of these days, I'm going to have to get out there and give it a whirl. But I think it's amazing. I think it's a great way to keep connected with our audience and our viewers. And for those viewers with us right now, what you see right here on the screen is probably what you're going to see next week. I think we're going to do a 2-hour broadcast next week as we kind of cover the racing. We'll be jumping back and forth from you and I with topics, video subjects. Of course, this is your show just as much as it's ours. So anything you want to see or hear on the show, send it to us. It's amazing to see everybody sending in pictures and comments and talk topics because, we come up with a few things, but if you guys want to talk about it, we would love to discuss it with you. Just going through a couple of the comments. If you got any comments, feel free to send them out now. We'll jump in. I don't know what's coming up after this race, Adam. Would you know what's up next? They only got 2 laps to go here in this race, and maybe finish off with the race here as we get set to go. I need to get going online, Wayne. I don't know. Good question. There's been some comments. So Riley Burst says, Clinton, for next year, the bigger shows, how about we get some of the retired outlaws up for the show? Saldana, Delansky, Lasowski, Swindell, just a suggestion, but that can make the show a little bit better. That's not out of the realm of possibilities. I think, Adam, when I did the All North Racing broadcast in McCann, which is it hasn't aired yet, which is the one from Toronto Motorsports Park, I came back and, that whole drag racing deal, the Nitro Nationals, there's no real competition. It's all just match races, set up deals. There's no real competition. I come back thinking, could we pull that off on dirt? Because the crowd was absolutely massive. And that's what got me thinking about maybe doing Swindell or those types of things, right? So I don't know. It's an interesting thought. There's a lot of things we could definitely do to improve those. One thing I can tell you is for everybody who wonders what I actually do in the winter, and Adam, you can back this up because I've been talking to you about a lot of stuff. I've been in major high-level meetings about the 25th year at Oshweekend Speedway, and we're going to have some super kick-ass stuff to announce in the coming months. So we are already hard on looking at where we're going to go with the shows next year.
Did you really just
awesome? Yeah, twice.
And I was going to call you out, and you were going to get so mad at me. I'm glad you did it yourself. Spencer, if you can throw up. Who was it that made the comment about Dan Sider's comment? It was basically someone said, a good friend who's a multi-time champion in multiple dirt divisions said the computer racing is the future of racing. Do you agree? No, I do not. But I believe it is the future entry point into racing. Karting used to be the entry point into racing until karting got so expensive that the average person can't really afford to do it. There are karting events that are great, but I do think computer racing, e-racing is going to take the place of that entry level, and there will be elite levels of e-racing. But I still think that racing as we know it is at a racetrack, outdoors, in the elements. I don't see that changing for the foreseeable future.
I think you hit it on the head there, Adam. When you look at, it is definitely the jump in point now. I also believe that it's going to elevate everybody's game. So just like we've seen with hockey, you've got all these specialty trainers and all these specialty things going on, and we've seen the game of hockey a lot faster, a lot tougher, a lot more skilled than it's ever been. You're going to see racing be the same way. I also think you're going to see let me switch up gears. Fossil fuels, climate change, the pressure for electric cars. When cars are officially all electric, are we still going to see sprint cars? Are we still going to see the type of racing we are? I think we are safe for many, many years to come. Our type of racing will still be the gladiators. Even when people no longer drive themselves in their self-driving cars and everybody's on LRT transit and all this type of other stuff that's going to happen in the future as the next generation start worrying about more and more about less cars, I still say our guys are going to be the badass gladiators out there, the bull riders of the world that are still out there getting on and making it happen every week.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. And so, just so the fans know, this is what the show is going to be like next week. We will have our structured 1 hour, and then there's going to be a lot of back and forth. So, we really encourage you to post your opinions, give us some thoughts to work with, give us some questions, give us some opinions, because it's really going to be a back and forth interactive type thing. And I really think, Clinton, when we start to address these topics, we make great progress. There's a lot of pretty good thoughts that go into these things. And this is where maybe moving forward, we'll have guests like GT Smith, other people in the industry. For example, take a guy like Joe Plazik, who still loves to follow the business. Have him involved for that second hour where people can throw questions at him and ask for opinions and things of that nature. Looking at Wayne Dempster talking about the sounds is what makes racing. I was on the infield at Oswego. Now they've got that covered grandstand on the front stretch, Clinton. It just spits the noise back in the infield. My ears were ringing so badly, I took candy wrappers and stuck them in as earplugs. I don't remember ever doing that in my lifetime.
I do. When I went to the Nitro Nationals, I don't think I ever need to see a drag race again. It was so loud, it was sickening. It was really that wild. Dave Hammy has a good thought, Adam, and it's something you and I have talked about. Just thought have a season with an entry fee and give a crate sprint car for the champion. And I don't know if he's talking about this type of racing, but that's something you and I on a different note had talked about, possibly working out a league where the champions get a shot at a real big time race car. And but I really think we've got some great things going on here. It's been cool. And like Adam said, this is your show, and whatever you guys want, we want to talk about it. Keep bringing it out. And Wayne Dempster says the modified sound awful now. Well, I think it's a lot more tolerable now than it was. You have a lot less people going deaf than they did in the 70s.
I'm going to tell you this. I think all forms of racing as we know it are way too loud. I don't think there's any reason for race cars to be so loud that your ears bleed. You hear a lot of people in the NASCAR scene. I'm not saying what NASCAR does is right, but you hear people at that level saying once the race starts, you cannot socialize anymore. Social hour is over. You can't talk. You can't communicate back and forth. It is just so freaking loud. And it's to me, it's unnecessary.
I got 2 points on that. One, people say, why aren't we doing a lot more weekly at Oshweekend Speedway? Great facility, great that. Steyrs and Tina and the Steyrs family and Glenn, they do not want to beat up the neighbors. We can only put the neighbors. If those cars were a lot quieter, we could do 2-3 nights of racing. We could do a super dirt week there for 4 nights straight. We just can't do it because the neighbors, we can't beat them up. The other point to that, Adam, is after a big long weekend, a super dirt week was bad for me. The Nationals, Oshweekend Speedway. You try and talk to me on Monday, I'm hoarse as can be. And everyone's like, what's wrong? You lose your voice, you're sick. No, it's simply yelling over race cars for 3 days straight, just communicating with your buddies sitting in the grandstands. You can't make it happen. And I'm not advocating for silent race cars. I still love the noise too, but I'm with you, Adam. I think we would be at least half quieter, and still be everything we always were.
I think you're right. I'm pretty excited. Our numbers have stayed up. Usually once we get past the 45-minute mark or so, Clinton, you really see a marked decline in our number of viewers. And we had a bit of a decline this week, but it's still pretty solid. So we really appreciate the people take some time out of their schedules. I know the Leafs are playing. I know baseball playoffs are going on. I know The Voice is on, and I got to catch up on what I've missed on The Voice. So we appreciate you taking some time and spending it with us. And I had nowhere to go with that. We just appreciate you.
I got somewhere to go with it. I'm going out to sit on the front porch and look at the ocean, have a beer with my family because I only get to be here for a week. Thanks everybody for watching us. But what I'm going to ask Spencer to do, they just went green here in the Oshweekend Outlaws. Let's go full screen. Let's hear some race noise. Let's hear Steve Ovens make this call. And everybody join us next week for a lot more of this interactive action and with the racing going on in the background. Anything you want to say, Adam?
I just want to say, Spencer, we still know that you're the best. You're amazing. But we did want to throw some love to Brad and Steve Ovens, who've done a really nice job with their production and their company 3-9 Streaming. So, Spencer, you're still our man. I didn't want him to feel badly over our compliments to the Ovens.
Spencer, are you there? Can you at least let people know you're all right with us? He can't turn his mic on. He says he's good. All right, Spencer, we love you, brother, as you know that. But thanks, everybody, for watching. And as my dad always said for many years, Adam, say goodnight, Dick.
Night, Dick.
Noise behind these
We'll leave
guys.
you
Van
with
Doren
the
aboard
sounds of the
949.
Brad Ovens produced
Shane
production
Pierce
with
with an
Steve
inside
Ovens
move
calling
to
the
turn
action.
number 3.
Here they are, lap 5 of 12. We'll let you go
Bob
to the end of this
Rochelle will
race. Good
keep
night,
his
everybody.
foot in the
Thanks
gas
from
and will
Adam and
hold on
myself
to
and
that
Spencer.
third spot.
Enjoy the racing.
Great onboard views there from Jordan Hack as you're watching here on 3-9 streaming. Hack now takes it down to the inside lane as these guys are all battling it out. Now, 8 of these cars will make it to tonight's A main. However, the better you finish in the B main, the better you'll start in the A main. So there's still definitely a lot on the line for these guys. As now we've got a battle for the lead as Ramsey is putting the pressure on Kevin Lovey's. And for these guys, they're comfortably in the show right now, but you really want to push your car and see what it has for the A main as you see Lovey's really getting aggressive up on the top side. Ramsey got as close to as the tail tank there on the 45 as he's trying to chase down the 98 of Kevin Lovey's. You're just riding on board with him here just a moment ago. 3-9 streaming, Turn 5 Media, bringing you live streaming coverage here of the Ashweekan Outlaws Racing League, powered by Strickland's GM out of Brantford, Ontario. Steve Ovens here on the call for you. Brad Ovens, our executive producer in the 3-9 streaming studios. As that battle continues on, oh, look out, Hack's in the guardrail. Hack got a piece of the fence there. He's got to be careful. He wants to keep that car in the show. As right now, Hack runs 6th, Cote 7th. Tanner Van Doren is currently 8th. And Van Doren slows. Van Doren's got a problem on the 949. Casey Sowich takes over the 8th spot. Here as the white flag comes out. Oh, something happened to Van Doren. I think Van Doren might have run out of gas. Checkered flag is in the air. The win goes to Kevin Lovey's. 2nd is Matthew Ramsey. 3rd, Kyle Rochelle. 4th, Shane Pierce. David Flick will finish 5th. And your 6th, 7th, and 8th cars going to tonight's A main. Jordan Hack, Chad Cote, Casey Sowich. Oh, what a tough break for Tanner Van Doren. It looked like that car just stalled. I think he ran out of gas. Oh, what a tough break for the youngster.